Alright guys, so let's get into drafting of this collection. The first one we're starting with is this Ankara dress, and this is the lace fabric we're going to be using. This is called chantilly lace, and there are different grades of it. You can buy whichever grade that you want. And I have my zipper, and I have this cotton lining I'm going to be using for most of the work I'm making. So let's dive straight into the drafting of this bustier. So the half length for the dress I'm working for is 17 and a half. So I'm going to be working with 17 and a half. So I'm just going to go ahead and mark out 17 and a half. Alright. Okay, so here we are, and this is the bodice we're going to be drafting. And so I've divided the pattern into the front and the back piece, and as you can see there's a difference between the front and the back piece, and that is 2 inches. Okay, this is the difference between the front half length and the back half length, and we have 17 and a half, 17.5 here, and this is 15.5 for the back. And this I divided the bust measurement is 39 inches. 39 divided by 4 is almost 10 inches. So I decided to make here 11 and 11. Okay, I decided to make both of them 11 and 11 inches each. But for the back, I can use the 1 inch extra for the back for the zip allowance. So the 1 inch extra at the back is now for the zip allowance. So I'm going to be drafting the basic block bodice, and then I will alter it to our bustier the same time. Okay, so from the shoulder to the top of this person is 7 inches, and I'm going to mark it across. Okay, now the shoulder to the bust is 10 inches. So this is the bust, this is the bust, this is the top of the bust. And for the underbust, the shoulder to the underbust is 15 inches. So let's impute the shoulder measurement, and the shoulder for this person is 7 inches. And as you can see from the back, I am marking the 7 inches away from the zip allowance. So from the back, I am going to come down by 1 inch for the shoulder slanting, and for the front, I will come down by 1.5 inches for the shoulder slanting. And then to get your armhole, you divide the bust by 6 and add 1.5 inches. Okay, so 39 divided by 6 plus 1.5 will give me 8 inches. So I'm going to be marking 8 inches here, and that will make this from the shoulder to the this thing 9 inches. So I'm going to come here and transfer the 9 inches to the front. So let's join this. Now this person's measurement was sent to me, and now I am seeing from what I am cutting out here that this cannot be where the bust is. If I do it this way, then the bust will be excessively lifted. So the difference between the shoulder to the top of the bust and the bust is the difference is just too much. So you can see the bust from shoulder to the bust to the under bust is 5, while from shoulder to top is 3 inches, and I don't accept that. So I think this can be 4 inches. So for that, I'm going to be coming up for the front part. I'm going to be doing it, reducing it, coming down by 1 inch, so that the shoulder to the bust of this person will be 11 inches and not 10 inches. So this is the actual bust, but I'm going to leave the back for this back measurement like this and use it for the dart. Okay, all right. So now that we know have our armhole, this is our armhole. Now I am going to be marking down the shoulder measurement all the way to the armhole. Okay, so next I am going to be marking at the neckline. Now for this dress, you can decide what kind of neckline you want. So when you decide the kind of neckline you want to give a dress, you can now decide how you are going to attach that neckline. Okay, so for this dress I am going to be using the bust divided by 12. So 39 divided by 12 will be 3.25 inches. So I'm just going to be using 3.3. So for the front, I'll use 3 by 3 inches. So 3 inches width and 3 inches depth. Then I'll use my curve ruler to curve it in. I'll use this one to connect the armhole, the shoulder slanting. Now for the front, for the back, I am going to be using the same 3 inches for the width, and for the depth, I'll be using half an inch. And I'm extending this half an inch to the zip allowance. Then I'll use the ruler to connect these two lines, to slant it. Okay, now we are ready to start imputing the other measurements. Now next we are going to do is the armhole. Now to curve the armhole, for the front I like to go up by 3 inches from the armhole line. I'll come here and mark 3 inches, and then you can come in by say 0.75 inches, depending on how tight you want this dress to be, and then you rule it to the shoulder slanting, and then use the curved ruler to curve the armhole. Now for the back piece, I like to divide the armhole into two. I have 8 inches here, which is 4 inches. I'll go in by half an inch, and I will connect this half an inch here. Then I'll use the ruler to curve the armhole as well. Next we're going to be doing is the dart. Now for this person, the nipple to the nipple measurement is 4 inches. So I'm going to be marking out our 4 inches. Sorry, the nipple to the nipple measurement is 8 inches. Divided by 2, that's 4 inches. So I'm marking out the 4 inches all the way to the bust line. And I'm going to connect it. For the dart, I want to take out 1.5 inches, which is 0.75 here, 0.75 here. And I'm going to roll it to the bust line. When you're making a dress that's going to have a zip at the back, always remember that to avoid the bulginess of the zip, you have to take out half an inch from the zip around the waist area. So if this was going to be a gown, you extend it around the down part up to 4 inches, and you can come up to this place, up to the top of the bust area here, and stop. So I'm going to be going up a little from here, half an inch from the zip, go up a little, and then slant it to this zip line. And then slant it to meet the top of the bust over there. Now this part It's not going to be part of our pattern. But when you are sewing the zip, you will still use your complete 1 inch to attach the zip. This is to eliminate the bulginess that's always at the back of dresses. Okay? Now the next thing we're going to do is coming over to this place to do a dart for the back. Okay, now for the back I am going to do the same thing, the same 4 inches. I am marking out the same 4 inches, and I'm marking this one all the way to the top of the bust. And I'm going to connect the lines. I want to extend the length of, because of the design I'm recreating, I want to extend the length of this bodice by 1 inch, which means I'll also extend this one by 1 inch. Okay, so I'm extending it by 1 inch. Alright, so I've extended the lines and I just added extra 1 inch because of the design I am trying to recreate. Okay, so now I'm extending the dart line here as well. Okay, so to take out the dart for this one, for the half length, I am going to be working the same 1.5 inch at the back that I used at the back. So I'm going to be marking at 0.75 on both sides. And then for the underbust, I want to use 1 inch here and then 1.5 inches here. So for the center front, I am using 1 inch. I am coming in by 1 inch, and for the side front, I am going out by 1.5 inches. Okay, so now I'm going to use the straight line to connect these lines first, and then I'll connect it to this one. Now next I'm going to do is use my straight ruler. Now from the bust point, you can come down by 1 inch before you do this, and you can also go up for 1 inch when you want to take the dart. When you want to take the dart for the top of the bust, you can also come up by 1 inch. But with a good ruler, you may not need all of that. So I'm going to be connecting this 1.5 inch to the bust. So with this ruler, it doesn't even get exactly to the bust. It's stopped at that 1.5 that I have already marked out. And then here we're going to smooth in here so it doesn't become pointy. And then I'll do the same thing for the sides. And then curve in here. So the measurement is making sense. Now next we're going to be doing is divide the bust measurement and input the other measurements. So divide the bust measurement by 4, and I have 9.75. So I'm going to come here and mark out the 9.75. And then for the underbust for this one is 35 inches. So 35 inches divided by 4 will be 8.75. So when I add this 2.5 I have here, so I have 11.25. So I'm going to be marking 11.25. So this is why I have to use more than just the division of the bust to divide this box here, because that's encroached all the way to the other side. Okay, alright. Now so for this place, for the waistline, for the waist area, we have the waist to be 34 inches. So 34 inches divided by 4 plus 1.5 will be 10 inches. So I'm going to be marking at 10 inches here. Now I'm going to use my ruler to connect these two lines. Okay, Now the difference between the front bodice and the back bodice is 2 inches. I'm going to come on the side here and I'll take out the 2 inches. Now for someone who is very busty, not just someone that is fat, someone that is busty, when you are taking the bust that, because you might be fat and have small size boobs, but if you have a big size boobs, even whether or not you are fat, when you are taking out the bust that, you come out from the bust by 1 inch. So I'm using a colored pen to explain this. You come out by 1 inch and you extend this 1 inch, extend it to that bust that all the way straight. Okay, this is what, because when you are cutting it open, for someone that is that busty, you are going to have to open here before you can take out the bust that. But for this person you are working with, even though the person's bust is big, it's not so big that we need to consider this 1 inch. So I'm going to be doing it directly from that 2 inches to the bust point. So I'm explaining this for emphasis in case you are making it for yourself or for someone else and the person is very busty. Okay, you have to consider that. Alright, now the next thing I'm going to be doing now is taking out the measurements as well on this side. So for the waist here, we have 34 inches divided by 4 plus 1.5, and I have 10 inches. So I'm going to mark out the 10 inches from the line before the zip allowance. So I have 10 inches. The bust area, the bust is 39 inches divided by 4 will be 9.75. So I'm going to come here and mark out the 9.75. And then I'm going to connect the 2 lines. Okay, this is a very close cord, very close cord. See that this one is almost exactly at the same measurement with this. And for the top of the bust, for the dress we're making, is going to have a sweetheart. So from the top of the bust here, we're going to come down by 1 inch or 1.5. Okay, let's just do it for 1.3 inches for the sweetheart curve. And to connect this sweetheart curve, so first you come to the top of the bust and you take out the darts here. So I'm taking out half an inch dart on both sides, which will make it 1 inch dart. So I'm going to mark this dart to the bust. And then I'm going to be using my ruler to connect this sweetheart curving to this top of the bust, the new dart that we've taken. And then from here I am going to come down, say 1 inch or 0.75 inches, and I will connect the line also to the new dart, to the dart line. Now this place is where our pattern, this is going to be the yoke for the front. Now I'm going to measure from this armhole all the way to where our curve, this curve starts, and I have 1.3 inches. I am going to come here and mark out 1.3 inches. And this is because for a dress that has, because this dress is going to be having, the yoke is going to be made of lace fabric, while the bodice will be the Ankara. Since the yoke is going to be from here, we might as well make this part of the back piece also have a yoke that also has a lace fabric. So from this place I'm just going to roll a line. I'm not making it a straight line, so I'm coming down a little bit as if I'm slanting my ruler, and I'm going to just connect this line to this place. And this is the back yoke. Okay, so this pattern now, when we are going to start cutting out the pattern, first I'm going to cut out the back piece, and then we'll alter the front piece. that I'm here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up, take out this underbust dart first. And then now I can take out the bust dart. So I'm just going to fold this bust dart and fold it to the main bust line. Alright, so now that we've done that, look at what you're noticing. If you notice this, you see that the line of the side line, the line from the side, it has shifted away from the initial line where it was. So now we're going to be using our ruler to connect this line back to the armhole line. So I'm going to just use my ruler like so, and I'm using this red pen so that you will see the distinction. See what I've done there? To connect those two lines together. So now I can cut out that part. Alright. Then I'm going to be cutting out this place as well. I'm going to cut here open straight. Now for this back piece, I'm going to be altering the back piece a little bit. Deciding this is where you decide where you want the zip to get to. That this I want to put buttons, cover buttons at the top here, all the way to the collar line, because this dress is going to have a little bit of bishop collar that's going to make it look like it has a turtleneck, but it's not. It's just a short, maybe 1 inch bishop collar, and so it's going to have 1 inch bishop collar, and I'll also come down by another 1 inch. So the dress already has, we're going to have a 1 inch for bishop collar, and I'm coming down by 1 inch so that we can put buttons there. And I'm going to connect this 1 inch to anywhere. You can decide wherever you want to add it, want this effect to start, where you want it to get to. Okay, so I can just come here and just come the way as far as this, and I decide to make it here. Now this effect we are doing, and as you can see, I wrote this line to stop at the zip line, and that's because the zip line is where this is supposed to stop. It's not going to extend beyond that. Okay, so now I'm going to be cutting out this part. So this is the back piece, and this is the front piece. Now if you join these two together, you will get the full length. The length would have aligned to become one. So this is our pattern for the dress we're about to make. Okay, so now I'm going to cut out the skirt pattern, and then I'm going to cut out the skirt pattern, and then we can start transferring to fabric.